happy COVID Christmas from my driveway to yours. I have a rather interesting endeavor for this holiday season. So I have decided, it's COVID, there's really not a lot to do, but I do need to get from here to Texas to celebrate with my family. So we are going to buy a car for $1,000, fix it in a week, and then drive it across the country. And if the wheels behind me are any hint, you might have a slight idea as to what route I went, but I'm going to show you the car I picked and all the stuff that happened between fixing it and driving it for about 1,500 miles, and what happened, what went wrong, that sort of deal. I don't know. I thought it would be fun, and it's my money I'm burning anyway. So here's what we got. So for just under $1,100, we picked up this awesome 1987 Honda CRX. This is the vehicle we're going to be taking across the country. This is about a week before we took the trip. The car is honestly super cool as is. It is an original SI, which is super cool. Some nice options in there. The car was originally red, and you can see in the door jambs and under the hood that there are plenty of remnants of red. The rear of the car was painted professionally, probably. The front is just barbecue paint, which sucks, but like, you know, it could be worse. There are some cracks on the fender and that front fairing. They're plastic. They take a beating pretty quickly, but honestly, you know, it's not too bad. It came on a set of, I believe they're Del Sol wheels. To be honest, I'm not sure. I don't know a whole lot about Japanese cars in general, but they had decent enough tires, but we plan to upgrade that pretty quickly too, because it does wobble a lot on the highway. But at the very least, solid starting point, right? And under the hood, we have a Honda D15A3. It's a pretty small economy type motor, and it does make, you know, about 100 horsepower. And for a car this light, it feels really peppy. It does have a pretty gnarly leak on the distributor, and there's another leak, probably oil pan, maybe just the drain plug underneath. It has a really shitty Walmart battery. That's going to need to get replaced because it doesn't hold charge. It's got this air intake that is probably the reason that the idle is so bad in this thing, but that's okay. It has the original airbox in the back, so we can throw that in. Other than that, it had recent timing belt change, new spark plugs and wires, some light maintenance here and there to keep it running, and it sounds really healthy. It's making good compression. Doesn't look like it's been run dry or overheated, so I think it'll go to Texas. Like, we'll see, you know? So now we'll go ahead and get on to the interior. I will move my jump pack because this thing does not usually start. But here we are. Now, keep in mind, I am about 6'1", and look at how much room I have. Like, this interior, I thought for a small car, you know, I was kind of gonna be sandwiching myself in every time, but this is a lot of room. So I was really happy with that. It's got crank basically everything, which is kind of expected. The manual adjusting mirrors, which is, you know, old school, kind of cool. I like it. But it does have a power sunroof. You know, that's fancy. And these seats, they're definitely not original. They do make you feel like a race car driver because you got these cool harnesses that are really beat up and kind of in bad shape. But you know, it's fun. And you also have a detachable stock for your windshield wipers, which is not very practical, but that's okay. It's been hardwired in to this carbon fiber printed switch. So, you know, we're talking fancy here. You have a bunch of cool options. You have this little, I think it's called a coin tray. Store a bunch of stuff in there. There's a ton of cool stuff in the glove box, and then behind me is just kind of piles of random parts, which is great because there's a lot of stuff that's going to need replacing. One thing that is a little aggravating, I think, yep, parking brakes on. The shifting is pretty sloppy. It actually takes like a pretty good amount of force, and you know, it kind of goes through the gears. Neutral is very vague. That's probably fourth. So probably some bushings down there that are going to need replacing. But I mean, keep in mind, look how clean this dashboard is. Not a crack on it. The odometer reads the original 160,000 miles, which is very little considering how old this car is. And you know, it's gonna need some little trim pieces. I already have an air vent for it that I can throw in so I can direct my airflow. This car is optioned with AC, so I get air conditioning. And in fact, right now, the only way I can keep it idling is by turning the AC on. So I always have cool air, even though it's like 45 degrees outside and windy. It's definitely gonna need an alignment because this is about where the wheel sits when you're driving in a straight line, and it's gonna need some suspension work anyway. But I mean, aside from these really saggy and questionable sun visors, it's not bad. It's dirty, but that'll clean up fine. You know, you've got these cheap, oh my God, are these taped? No. You've got these cheap little floor mats, but you know, all things that can be fixed for very little money, which is great for me. And, you know, very easy fixes provided that I can find these parts. So let's get it on the road. Biggest problem right now with drivability and safety for that matter is that the brakes they're not bad, they're terrible. You only get brakes at about the last 5% of the pedal, and if you slam them on, which I'll do right now, so I'm going to slam on the brakes, you get a kind of casual deceleration, kind of like what you do when you're daily driving. So if an emergency comes up, you just kind of have to bite the bullet, but that's okay. I have liability insurance. So we're stopped at a red light right now, and hopefully once we get onto this road, I can show you what she's capable of. But you know, right now the most frustrating thing for me is the fact that the shifter's really vague. Oh, and listen to that. Yeah, the shifts kind of bounce like that. But like I said, you know, you turn on the AC, doesn't matter. You're idling at about 2100 RPM, but you know, it's not bouncing or anything like that. And here we go, U-turn o'clock. Oh God, power steering, okay. So now we're in first. Woo! And once again, pedal all the way to the floor and get our gradual deceleration. But I mean, it's fun. You know, I've been daily driving a TJ, a Jeep TJ, which is just, you know, a manual Wrangler, no big deal. And you really have to push it to feel spirited. But this thing, it's like, you know, you hear the revs fly up there, and you're in such a small and low little box of death. It's so freaking fun. And then, you know, I can daily drive just like this, you know, just kind of casually shift through the gears and, you know, make my way toward 30 miles per gallon. So it's such a cool car because, you know, you can drive it daily just fine. And then when you want to have a little fun, you know, you hit those mountain roads or just like get onto an interstate or something, you can really take off. But, you know, as you can hear, the engine sounds really healthy. It shifts through all the gears. It doesn't grind at all. So, you know, the biggest concern, I think the only thing really holding me back is the fact that the shifter feels like absolute garbage, and the brakes will probably kill me in about 200 to 300 miles. So, you know, we definitely have some little things to address. But at the end of the day, considering the price, I think we got a solid start. It's a cool car. Most of the things that are needed work already, and I don't think it's going to take a whole lot to get this thing to where I can start getting on the road. So included with the sale, we got some extra bonus goodies, one of them being brand new tie rod ends, which is good because it does wobble a lot. I'll save this because, oh my word, these are the exact rims that I wanted to put on this thing eventually. I didn't know he had them when I picked the car up, and he said, hey, I've got the original rims. And the paint is atrocious. I think they're just spray painted, but nothing a little bit of paint stripper can't fix. The tires are not too happy though, but heck, it's a set of rims. And the coolest part, I have this pretty little packet, and inside of this, there's all sorts of cool goodies. 87 warranty information, Yokohama tires. We've got, you know, this had the title in it, but I'm not showing that for obvious reasons. That I'll save because it's super freaking cool. And an owner's manual. But check this out. This is the dealer build sheet. I thought this was super cool. Everything that is included in this car all is standard, so no bonus options, but it's an SI, so it's pretty nicely equipped. 30 miles per gallon, 33 miles per gallon, not too shabby. But it's kind of cool. I mean, these are like 30-year-old papers, and I have pretty much all of them. Oh, there's an extra one in here. What's this? Firestone, tire maintenance and warranty manual. But I always like finding original papers in cars, and this one had a whole bunch of them, and rims and tie rods.